I'm in the spectacular village of Bursins in Switzerland. Today I'm going to be visiting the grave of Peter Ustinov, the actor, writer and director. He won 2 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor, one for Spartacus in 1960 and the other for Topkapi in 1964. He was born in London in 1921 to a Russian father and a French mother. He had been a goodwill ambassador for UNICEF from 1968, and he was a passionate advocate for children's rights and the promotion of world peace. It looks like they're in the process of harvesting the grapes here. Now, I have allegedly eaten 1 or 2 of these, and they are absolutely delicious. I'm just looking for Peter Ustinov's house at the moment. In October 1984, he was at the residence of the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, waiting to interview her for Irish television. As Prime Minister Gandhi was walking through the garden to meet him, she was actually assassinated by 2 of her bodyguards. Peter Ustinov would later recall hearing the gunshots and not hearing any voices afterwards, only the reaction of the birds in the garden. Ustinov had a talent for impersonating famous people, including Winston Churchill and John F. Kennedy. Ustinov wrote 23 plays, 13 books, 9 films and numerous memoirs. He directed 8 films, 8 plays and 14 operas. They have red grapes here. The red grapes are also spectacular, that's what they tell me anyway. This is actually Peter Ustinov's house, right here, and he actually owned this vineyard in front of the house. He hosted many famous guests at this house, including Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, and, believe it or not, Mikhail Gorbachev. This is also where he wrote some of his books, including The Old Man and Mr. Smith, and Beethoven's 10th. When he passed away of heart failure in 2004, it wasn't here, he passed away in a nearby clinic. His first wife was a half-sister to Angela Lansbury of Murder, She Wrote fame. The marriage ended in divorce, and they had 1 child together, and they actually had that child after the divorce. Looks like somebody who was picking the grapes here has left his jacket here. Looks like too thick a jacket for this weather though. Both Ustinov's father and uncle were actually officers in the German army during World War I. Got a very old building in front of us there. It's actually a winery. He was sued for damages in 1963 after he pulled out of the film The Pink Panther. He had been due to play the part of Inspector Clouseau. And of course, as we all know, he was replaced by Peter Sellers. His funeral was actually held in Geneva Cathedral. Spectacular little church here in the centre of the village. I'll have a closer look in a second. Money saving tip for you if you come to Switzerland. If you buy a bottle of water, just a small bottle, it'll cost you around at least $3 US. But the refills are free. Very scenic little village. Look at the roof on that house. Amazing. This church seems to have been built in 1902. This is where I got off the bus earlier. There's a bakery just over there, and the first thing I smelt was freshly baked bread. Beautiful. Like a communal library here. You just help yourself to a book, and after you read it, you bring it back. I've seen that in Wales, but only in Hay-on-Wye. And here's the village cemetery, the final resting place of Peter Ustinov. It's very small, as you can see. Now his grave is quite large, and it's in a prominent spot in the graveyard. So Peter Ustinov, 1921 to 2004. Writer, actor, humanist. Peter Ustinov used his ability to charm the powerful to help the powerless through his work with UNICEF and the Peter Ustinov Foundation. When Peter Ustinov died, Kofi Annan, the UN Secretary General at the time, said that he could have made the first-rate Secretary General. And David Attenborough said of him, he treated acting as good fun, and what he really cared about was his writing. But beyond all things, he cared that he was able to return his good fortune to others. That gave him enormous satisfaction. Peter Ustinov died on March 28, 2004, at the age of 82. There's actually a bench just behind the grave.
changing fast.